What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
Dude, it's great. Thank you for having me in here. I'm very excited. Before we get into the conversation, please introduce yourself, introduce your amazing comic shop, and where people in Albuquerque can find you guys.
All right, no problem. I'm Mikey Riggs. I'm owner-operator of Scum Pit Comics. We are located on 1016 Juan Tabo, Northeast Suite D. We are the offshoot of Scum Pit Toys, which I am also owner and operator of. We are Scum Pit Warehouse headquarters.
I gotta say, man, congratulations on the shop.
Thank you.
Like I was telling you beforehand, for people in Albuquerque that have been here before or know about the comic book stores in Albuquerque, it used to be Lobo Comics and Toys. Mm-hmm. I mean, I started really getting into comic shopping for myself about maybe 10 to 13 years ago. I would come here every so often. I liked it. It was a cool store. You guys have just made it make sense. I'll put it that way. You walk in and it makes sense in here. What made you want to own it? What made you want to take over?
Okay, so oddly enough, I was going to open a store. That was going to happen.
Okay.
I also work in film, so it was in between film gigs, and I went to Henry, who is the owner of Lobo. And I said, Henry, I'm just really, my job is so clerical because I do coordination. So I was just my job's so clerical. It's just me with a computer. I really just need to talk to people. I need a day to talk to people about the things I love that they love. I just miss connecting with people.
Sure.
And he was like, yeah, I mean, I understand. He's like, yeah, I can give you a day, just Saturdays. And I was like, yeah, great. So, I came in first Saturday, get right back in the rhythm. Pretty much no problem for me because I love all this stuff so much, and just talking to people, seeing old faces. Second week I come in, Henry's like, can we go in the back? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you just want to buy the place? And I was like, dude, what?
And
he's
how long
just
ago was this?
This was in November of 2024.
Okay.
November of 2024.
Interesting.
And I was like, what? And he's like, I'm old. And he's like, I'm going to retire. He's like, the lease ends at the end of December 2025. He's like, if we start planning now, everything should be pretty seamless. He's like, it'll give you time to get everything prepared.
Nice.
So then I was like, well, I'd have to think about it because I was planning on opening something anyway. So then I talked to my wife and she was just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's just keep a legacy going. She's like, we'll start our own legacy on top of it, but let's keep it moving. And she's like, you love that shop? And I was like, I do. And I love Henry. I think he's such a good dude. So I very much was just like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to keep someone else's dream alive while creating my own,
Yeah.
So yeah, we just kind of took it over in January, and that year was, interesting and fun. It was good to communicate and just kind of figure out how he runs things. It's funny because I knew to some degree. It's actually a funny story about that. About a month before the changeover, Henry's joking around with me and he's talking to me about stuff, and he's like, well, he's like, there's just some things that I don't think he's like, you might not be prepared for, some curveballs. And he goes, do you know why we do the coding on the price tickets? And I was like, Henry, I was the one who came up with the coding on the price tickets. And he was like, oh, yeah.
He's ready to retire. God bless him.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, buddy. And then in that moment, I was like, oh, I'm going to be fine. This is going to be fine.
So how much did you understand, running a business before this conversation even happened, before he takes you in the back and goes, hey, what do you think? How much business savvy did you have? Not just, because you're very personable, clearly, but it's the actually running the numbers and making sure.
I mean, we have an accountant.
Okay.
There's certain things I'm not going to do. We have an accountant. But I think that for me, there's a lot of clerical. My job is clerical. Oddly enough, I'm an accountant.
Nice.
For film. I'm a film department accountant, basically.
Okay, cool.
So I do that for costumes.
Nice.
But it's a little different, and I was like, I don't want to mess this up. When I finish with film stuff, I hand it off to the accountants for the film department.
Sure.
So it gets looked over 2 to 3 times before it gets turned in, So with this, it's no. I can't be the last line of defense. So we have an accountant for all that kind of stuff, but a lot of it was pretty dialed in, years of retail experience, years of retail management. I've been working in businesses my whole life. I mean, I've owned my own toy company for 15 years.
Nice.
So there's a lot of stuff that I brought from that side of things that a lot of people I don't think have that product type knowledge.
Right.
So I think that it was pretty easy to adapt what I knew to what I didn't know very quickly. And I think we've managed to we have an amazing staff, and I think we've managed to get a really good rhythm.
I was going to say, just walking in here, the camaraderie between you guys is palpable, so that's good. Improvised Intelligence is sponsored by the amazing people over at Chop Chili. If you've been a long time listener to the podcast, you know that this is my favorite brand of chili here in New Mexico. Pretty much put it on every meal that I can. I've got red chili, green chili. My personal favorite is this blend of the red and the green. I think this stuff is phenomenal. They also have frozen bags of green chili that you can order directly from their website at chopchilico.com. You can also find them in stores around the state of New Mexico at Sprouts, Albertsons, Farmers Country Market, John Brooks, Keller's Farm Store, Lowe's Market. You can also find them in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Hobbs, Gallup, Tucumcari, and for all my friends in Texas, they are in El Paso. Again, chopchilico.com. Go get yourself some amazing chili. Now back to the podcast.
Well, I mean, they're good
you gotta
dudes.
like the guys that you want to be working with.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before we started shooting that you worked at places like Hot Topic and Walmart.
I never worked at Walmart. I was saying I worked at Hot Topic.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
You're making the comparison, right.
Yeah.
So, but I did want to ask about Hot Topic. It blows my mind in general that malls are still open. Just generally speaking, it blows my mind.
100%.
But I think the only store I still go to in the mall is like a Hot Topic or a Spencer's to see like what kind of shirts and the kind of merch.
Right, because sometimes you just want like a Rage Against the Machine t-shirt.
Yeah. Well, me and my chick, we found a fucking like Bloodborne merch there.
Yeah.
And that blew our mind.
Well,
you never find stuff
what's
like that.
funny about Hot Topic is that I don't think people realize what the name means. Because when you think back to when you were a kid, it was a goth store.
Right.
And you're like, oh, so Hot Topic's the goth store. And people do that all the time.
Right.
But they don't realize that the title of the store literally tells you what they do.
Exactly.
It's Hot Topic. They carry whatever's prevalent in pop culture at that moment.
Correct.
And I've watched them pivot. When I started working there, it was still a goth store.
Yeah.
By the time I left, hardcore and metalcore had completely taken over that store.
Right.
And then from there it changed, and there was a point when it was very big on like, anime culture and all that kind of stuff. And then there was a point when fucking Funko Pop owned them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they still kind of do.
Yeah. But it was like, there was a point when there was like a hole. It was bad.
Right.
So I think that's the thing is I think people sometimes forget that that's what Hot Topic does. Hot Topic's whole job is keeping their fingers on the pulse of counterculture.
So I think you just answered the question that I was going to ask, but like, what did you learn from running a place like that to bring it to here? I think you just answered it, but...
Well, I think yes and no, because you definitely learn how to keep an eye on trends, and you learn a lot about how trends work. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't pay attention to, is that everything is cyclical. Trends are cyclical. Like, we see it all the time in fashion, but I don't think people realize that it also works with pop culture, too, and it works with, like, collecting. Like, people get into things rise and fall, they rise and fall. Evergreen properties are called evergreen properties because they continue to gain interest, but they don't always stay at peak popularity. Ninja Turtles, like 2 years ago, Ninja Turtles was everywhere because of they had Mutant Mayhem, they did the movie again. Like, people were getting like sick about over the nostalgia of it, right? And now I think it's waning back down because people are like, NECA's over-inducing us with Ninja Turtle toys. There was I think 11 Ninja Turtle lines at one point.
Yes, so thank you. I was going to bring that up later because of your experience in toys, but I'm glad you just brought this up now. With brands like NECA.
I hate NECA.
And I don't blame you.
I don't care. I'm like, it's really probably bad for me as a retailer to talk about how much I don't like this company, but I don't like NECA.
I truly don't blame you because there was maybe a short window of time last year into maybe January for about 5 or 6 months where I kind of like, there's a part of my brain that was like, oh, I think I understand why people collect these $25 to $30 toys because... I can't rationalize it now, but at the time I was like, okay, I kind of like some of this stuff, and then I loop McFarlane into this too.
Yeah,
and
McFarlane has more integrity.
Yeah, well, if I didn't personally purchase the David Cornsweet Superman and Crypto set, I'd agree with you, but I think that was still a bit overpriced. But
then he does things like that Batmobile, and that Batmobile was like $90.
Yeah.
And it's like he figured out a way to do a low-cost vehicle so that people could afford it and get it.
Right.
See, like he's constantly, like McFarlane actually cares about the consumer, and he thinks about the consumer at all times, even though he makes a product that I personally don't enjoy.
Yeah, because
I can at least see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
NECA feels like they're just data miners. They literally just like, here's a property you want, and here's the same NECA articulation and the same chunk of accessories.
And that's my thing. I was just saying about to bring that. You can't do anything with their figures. Like the only, like, 'cause I used to like really collect Hot Toys.
Yeah.
I loved Hot Toys.
They're great toys.
And I have a lot of them set up in my house.
I like chintzy toys. I'm weird. Like,
I don't know if I bought them before. I don't know if I bought, what's the brand called?
No, chintzy, like in terms of like, I like small, like tchotchkes.
Oh,
like I'm not like it's so funny because I was talking to a dude recently and he sold me some He-Man toys and he was like, yeah, I'm going strictly to the big Mondo figures. And I was like, which are basically like Hot Toys.
Right.
And I was like, I appreciate people who are doing this and they're like, I want a set of 12 high-end collectibles instead of 20 or like 200 $20 toys.
Right.
But I like toys. Like I like junky things that are in my pocket. I like the idea that I could be driving down the street and someone could make me mad and I could just whip a Beastman into their car. Like I won't feel bad about it because I'll be like, I paid $10 for that. Who cares?
Yeah, I'm not.
Joke's on you, bro.
Dark Knight Returns hot toys in there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the thing is I think for me, and this is a problem I've had for years because I obviously own a soft vinyl toy company, right? And soft vinyl toys always come with an elevated price point, and I hate that. Like, I hate that I'm selling toys to people, and I feel like I price my stuff very fairly, so I'm not including myself in this when I say it, obviously. Like, I try to keep my stuff low. It's hand-painted.
Yeah.
But I have colleagues, and they'll sell their toys for, like, hundreds of dollars, and they're like, oh, you didn't get one? It's a run of 10. Sorry.
Yeah, and that bleeds into my question about where I was going with NECA is NECA's price point and the aftermarket. In your opinion, what... outside of just general, because I think you hit the nail on the head with there are just people that clearly just try to look for like what's hot and they print out toys. What is inflating the aftermarket? Because there are some prices.
FOMO.
There's prices that I see for some of these things where I'm just like, and I could apply this to comics as well. Sure.
It's all podcasters and YouTubers, and it's your ilk, bro. Your ilk does this because they go online and they go, "Well, you didn't get this? You slept on this Man Ray toy, bro. You didn't buy this Man Ray? Is it because your life is lame and void of meaning?" And then some dude's at home like doom scrolling. He goes, "Is my life devoid of meaning?" And then he buys that Man Ray toy, and he buys it on eBay from some dude who bought it.
Right.
Bought 10 of them. Just to sit on them, hoping that some YouTuber would do that for him. Okay. And like, here's the thing. Let me be clear. I like you. I like all the YouTubers. I don't. You guys talk about what you love. I talk about what I love. I get it. I think that the problem is that there's a weird disconnect in the language. For sure. And I don't think people are realizing that there's people out there that are literally planning to take advantage of you during all of this.
Right.
There was a scandal recently because a Absolute Batman 19 came out.
I knew you were going to bring this up. Yeah,
and the store made incentive covers, and they were like, they're $25 a piece. Oh, it's
I'm talking. I'm going to check the levels.
No, I'm infuriated by it. You're fine. So basically, they were like, hey, this book is number 19. We're going to sell for $25 a pop. They started moving through them, and instantly they were like, oh, these are going to sell like hotcakes? Never mind. And they went onto Whatnot and started auctioning them off at like the highest dollar they could. I hate this. I hated it years ago when it happened to a buddy of mine at a toy show in New York. I'm not going to name the place. I'm not going to name the people because they're not. I don't dislike the people, but basically, an edition of 5 was painted for a show in New York, and my buddy Grizz went to this show, ready to buy the toy, and they told everybody ahead of time the toy is $500, and they were going to auction off by lottery 5 of them. They did 4 of them, and then when they realized how many people were there and how much they were going to get, they could make, they auctioned the 5th one. And he was just like, "Oh, cool. That's not messed up at all."
Yeah.
And I really feel like it's weird because it's like I don't see all that stuff as often in action figure collecting and in comic book collecting, but I see it all the time in soft vinyl collecting, and I've become so repulsed by it that like when it starts to creep into these hobbies, I get mad. Like, do you remember like I think it was like probably 4 or 5 years ago when Target did the Cobra Island G.I. Joe exclusives.
I think so.
And they did a Cobra Trooper, and it was the first Cobra Trooper, and everybody freaked out and just started buying them everywhere. I remember there was this douche who was on like Facebook on one of the groups and was like, "Yeah, I got like 96 of these Cobra Troopers. Check it out." And it's just a tub. Full of on-card Cobra Troopers. Yeah. And I was like, oh, dude, do you not understand what cool is? Because you think this is cool, and you just look like a prick. Like, there's nothing cool about coveting things that other people want. Like, there's nothing cool about taking from your community. Yeah. And I think that's the problem is I think people lose aspect of the community, and companies like NECA prey on that. Yeah. And I don't... And they also just oversaturate. Like, you don't need a movie Ninja Turtles line and a... while they're on the road singing live Ninja Turtles line and a 2012 animated and a 90s animated in the 80s. And a comic book line. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like that's all. And then the Universal Monsters line. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like this is all just at NECA. And then Super 7 was doing Reaction and Super 7 was doing Ultimates. And it's like you guys are just like data mining our childhoods, and it's not okay. Like Super 7's not as bad about it because they literally are like, here's a line. We do a line. And it's like, okay, yeah, just do the line. You do a single line for something. But NECA's out here like, oh, what? You didn't get that like rare, obscure video game aliens line? Right. Well, guess what? We made a rarer, obscure alien or,
So like, when did toys stop being for kids?
Oh, I'm of the firm belief that this happened years ago. I think it happened in the early 2010s. Like, people didn't start admitting it until recently, but I've lived in those toy aisles for a long time, and there hasn't been kids in them for a long time.
Yeah.
Kids show up, and you go, "Oh, look, a kid," and you get shocked. But like usually,
clip that.
Usually, I'm in the toy aisle, and you show up, and I go, "Oh, what's up? Did you get this?" And you go, "Yeah, I did get that." You know,
right?
It's usually just like two grown men in their like 30s and 40s, and maybe sometimes in their 20s that are getting into it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's just one of those things where like.
So I don't think there's nothing wrong with anyone buying things they enjoy. I'm not saying that at all. I guess what I'm asking is like. And DC started doing this a little bit recently over the last year or so with like the new Superman coming out and stuff like that, where I see toys that are priced at $7 to $10, $12, $13.
Mm-hmm.
But for the longest time, especially after the pandemic, the only toys that I was seeing were like the McFarlane, the NECA, stuff like that, where they're like 30 and above. And I'm like, in what universe is a parent going to be buying their kid a $30 toy? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like a normal parent, anyway.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I mean, a kid that's under the age of 10, right?
Yeah.
That's going to snap that figure in, maybe a week.
Yeah, exactly. So where, like, it's just because, in your opinion, there wasn't a market for kids buying toys anymore just because they're all on iPads and electronics?
I don't want to be that jaded. I don't want to be that jaded and say it's because kids live in phones, because I think that that's too far. I think it's more just that, like, there's so many different things now to do with your time that like I think that the idea of just like playing with toys itself is just one of many things. When you were growing up, you either played with toys or you played sports, pretty much. Like, that's it. It was one of the two. You were either out, or you were just alone in your house, like just living in silence in the Ethan. Just like, what is life, you know?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
But that's the thing, is it's like I was never a kid who played sports. I played with toys. Like, I went out in my backyard and I built these elaborate forts for my G.I. Joe figures and stuff like that. If I was too rambunctious and I couldn't bring myself to focus on playing with action figures, I would pretend to be the characters from those comics myself and would just pretend, you know? Right.
But
I think that's the thing, is it's like
playing
you have all
pretend.
You have all that, but you also have like so much more media, and media is so much more accessible that people can be like, my kid likes music, my kid likes movies, my kid likes the iPad, my kid likes sports, you know, like there's so much. It feels like the gamut, like arts and crafts is so much bigger than it was when we were kids. Even like your parents would hand you a light bright and be like, here, shut up, you know?
Right. A light bright. Holy shit. Yeah.
So I think that's the thing, is I think I think that there's so much more options that I think it just kind of diluted the branding of toys as toys for children. And again, the price points. And I think that, to go back to your point about COVID, I think that the big part of that too is that, Marvel Legends almost got completely taken off the pegs during COVID.
Interesting.
Because the way that COVID laid everything out, it screwed up Hasbro's release schedule. And the two lines of toys that came out during COVID were the Black Widow movie figures and the Eternals movie figures. So basically they were such tankers for Target that Target was like, I don't know if we're going to carry Legends. So they actually pulled back on Marvel Legends, and so did Walmart, which actually causes...
Interesting.
Economics are crazy with toys. But it causes huge flux, because then everybody started going straight to Hasbro Pulse to buy things. But then when COVID was over... People still can get COVID.
Yeah, per state. Yeah.
But like once COVID, like the panic and intensity of COVID had died off.
Right.
The problem is people got used to collecting on Hasbro, but then the thing started showing up at Target and Walmart again. So we had this huge influx, and I think you probably remember there was a point when like really good stuff was hitting Ross. Yeah. Because they had started overproducing.
Well, back to the point of McFarlane. McFarlane started like shipping toys directly to Ross.
Yeah, because they started overproducing.
They like their own line, right?
COVID, in terms of collecting and pop culture, COVID was like kind of a boom, because I guess everybody was getting $1,000 a week and they could start collecting, and they couldn't leave the house.
Right.
So there was that. So we got a lot of new collectors out of it, which is good. But at the same time, like once it was over, a huge chunk of them left because they could go outside again.
Right.
But then
the money dried up.
Yeah, and the money dried up. But then also on top of that, there's this weird pocket where I bet you if you go back and look at the numbers, they're weird.
Yeah.
Like spikes and falls, hills and valley, like just weird stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when because obviously this is the definition of a collector's store. Do you ever see kids or parents bringing kids into stores? Is that a thing?
Oh, all the time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. See, that's the funny thing about this is
I don't want to be completely doomer about all this stuff, but
no. And that's the interesting thing, right? Is it's like I go to toy aisles all the time, and I rarely see children in toy aisles at like Target. Mm-hmm. But we see children in here all the time.
Cool. Okay.
And I think it's because the parents that are coming in here with their kids, they love this stuff.
Right.
So they're trying to impress it upon their kids.
Here's the right way to enter the hobby.
And it's and you know, and again, like you can buy loose figures for far cheaper than you're going to buy carded figures at Target. So I mean, as a parent, I'm just going to throw this out there. Like as a parent, if you want your kids to like get toys, but you don't want to spend the money on toys, like you go to a local store, and I'm not even just, this isn't even just to pitch me. This is just to pitch the concept. Like your local comic book and toy store is going to have cheaper toys than a Target, Walmart, any of those situations. And you're probably going to get better options because we're getting in collections constantly. So we get an influx of product that your kids are going to be like, oh, if your kid wants a Spider-Man toy, we're probably going to have a Spider-Man toy, you know? And you're going to get it for most likely cheaper unless it's a rare Spider-Man toy, right? But the thing is it's like it helps give them more options. And it's also, you don't have to tell yourself, well, is that going to be a collectible? Who cares? Like your kids get to play and they get to have fun toys. And we love that. Like we love, I mean, again, soft vinyl toys, right? But I love when kids buy my toys. Like I get so happy when I see a kid enjoying this new thing in their imagination, because that is a rant I do want to go off on. I'm sick of nostalgia baiting. I'm sick of the fact that I have so many people in my life that are like, oh, I don't buy that. And I'm like, why don't you buy this new thing that's kind of like a love letter to the thing that you've collected for years? And they're like, oh, I can't. I'm a Transformers guy. What? I can't buy this new cool mutant thing that you just showed me because I'm a Ninja Turtles guy. Your identity is not created by your nostalgia. When you were 10 years old and you walked through Toys R Us, I'm going to name drop it. I miss it. When you were 10 years old, Hastings, man. Right? Oh, yeah, exactly. That's also good too, right? But this is specific. Yeah. You're 10 years old. You're walking through Toys R Us, right? Your parents are like, you can get a toy, right? You walk into that toy aisle, and did you go, oh, well, shit, I'm a Ninja Turtles guy, so let me see what they have specifically in this section? Or did you walk that toy aisle and see all this crazy new stuff, these new ideas, something that glowed in the dark or something that had a projectile missile? How many like weird one-off toys did you have in your collection that they just caught your attention and you had to buy them? I did have a few. I did. Exactly. I did. And that's the thing is I feel like people forget that what you're actually hunting isn't the nostalgia. It's not, well, it is. It's not the nostalgia of Ninja Turtles. It's the nostalgia of how fun it was when you were a kid to find something new and become passionate about it. Yep. And I think that people have lost sight of that. And they're just like, oh, it's G.I. Joe or all right, until I die, you know? And I'm like, no, man. Like, yes, I collect G.I. Joe. I collect Motu. I have so much Motu. Like my employees will tell you, it's like bad. Like Masters of the Universe, that's a whole conversation in itself. But Masters of the Universe is the greatest toy line ever made. But I wouldn't. I'm not even a huge fan of that property, but I get it. I just look at it and I get it. I didn't realize it until I became a toy maker. And the more things I've made and the more I've learned about toy making in general, the more I'm like, oh, this is the blueprint for how to do everything right. Right. The only thing they did wrong was that movie. That movie literally tanked that whole brand. But had they made a good movie like TMNT did, the Motu never would have died. But that said, like that's kind of my thing is it's like you don't chase the property, you're chasing the high of finding something new. Right. And it's so weird because like with music, right? Like if you find a new band, you get so excited, right? You're still looking for new music in your, in your 30s and your 40s. You're still like, oh, I found this new band. They're so sick. And you want to show it to people. People are really open-minded to new things when it comes to music. They're really open-minded when it comes to comic books, actually, too. Yeah. It doesn't affect comic books. I can go, hey, have you tried this? And people will be like, no, what's it about? And you pitch it, and they're like, yeah, I'll read that. Yeah. For some reason, toys don't do that. Like, for some reason with toys, people get all, like, stuck in their childhood, and they're just like, no, it has to be this. And it drives me crazy as someone who's like, we make a toy line. It's called Cultists, right? And it's like my favorite thing that we do. We do a bunch of other toy lines. Like my employee Alex makes toys under the term VARM and all this kind of stuff. Like we make a bunch of cool toys, right? But I make specifically my toy line that I do that I'm really proud of is called Cultists. It's basically, when people ask me to explain it, I'm like, it's He-Man meets Battle Beast in a fight figure Japanese toy style platform with black metal and doom metal as like the tapestry on it. I'm like, that's the recipe. Like if you want to figure out how I came up with it, I took a little bit from this, that, the other thing, and this is how I came to where I'm at. And I'm like, if you're someone who loves He-Man and listens to Sleep all the time, I'm like, you would love my toy line. Right. But then I tell you about it and you go, yeah, but dude, I can't. Like I only collect He-Man. And I'm just kind of like, why? Like, I don't know what to say. Right. Like, I don't know how to communicate past that because I just get all like, why would you close yourself off to finding new things,
I think people search for comfort in all things anyway, and and being open to interpretation or trying something new is something. That's why everyone goes to their like 3 favorite fast food places, or if they wanted to go sit down somewhere, they have that 3 whatever. That's why comfort shows exist and comfort movies exist and blah 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 blah. And you find it really with TV shows where they really take off maybe in their 2nd or 3rd season because the culture accepts it, and then everyone's like, "Oh, I've been watching this since season 1, dude."
Not if Netflix has its way.
Well, right, yeah, yeah, right.
I've worked on I think like 3 season 1 only Netflix shows.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of.
I don't think they get that concept. I don't think they realize that shows need time to breathe.
Right.
We did a show called Daybreak. My wife was on it.
Okay.
They built an entire mall for that show.
The amount of money. So I'm not going to say where I work, but the company that I work for provides security for the big Netflix lot.
Yeah.
Way off on past the Slota.
Yeah.
I remember I went there for the first time a couple of years ago, and I was getting shown around the property, got to see all the production lots. The amount of money that these people spent on sets blew my. Like they had this set. I don't know what show it was for, but it was supposed to be like an old school saloon, but it had like not old school, but it was like a Western style saloon, and it had like
this?
2.5, 3 years ago maybe.
Huh, I wonder if
and it had like a pool table and a full bar with like taps that worked and all this stuff. And I'm like looking around like, holy fuck.
I wonder if that was.
That's a lot of money. It might have been Ransom Canyon.
That might actually be Ransom Canyon. I work on Ransom Canyon.
It might have been Ransom, yeah.
Ransom Canyon.
One of my
Season 2's coming out in July, baby.
Yeah, one of my homies is in it. Shout out to Jaron. Love you, buddy.
Transpo Jared?
Huh?
Transpo Jared?
He's in a band, Simon Montero.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Jaron Robledo. Did I pronounce your last name right? Robledo. Yeah, good guy. Anyway, so yeah, it is tough to get people into new things, and So I'm curious about your toy line too. Is what made you want to start making your own toys?
Okay. I was. Let me think. It's been like
and what was what made you want to do it? Then what was the barrier to actually the barrier to entry to actually start doing it?
Oh, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I was collecting soft vinyl toys. And
describe soft vinyl for somebody who does not know what you're talking about.
Oh, like vintage Godzilla figures, how they're like kind of blow moldy and they're like hollow inside, and they have like male to female style jointing where it like clips in place, and then it's just like a circle that it can run through the joint.
Yep.
So it's just like blow mold style is basically kind of the best way to explain it. But it's like roto casted like in the same vinyl of like records.
Right.
Yeah. So I was collecting soft vinyl toys. I was working, when I started collecting soft vinyl toys, I was working at Astro Zombies, actually. And then I had left, and I was in between things, and I ended up working at a GNC.
Okay.
Which is...
Like the supplement store GNC?
Yeah, dude, it was rough.
Oh, perfect example. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so like, obviously he's rotocasted. The whole thing's hollow. So then it's basically like simple jointing. But it is jointed. This isn't 3D printed. It's pulled in a factory. We pick it out, everything like that, which I think is a misconception I get all the time where people are like, oh, did you 3D print this? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, this is made in a factory, and then I hand paint it and everything like that.
That's awesome.
So basically, yeah, I was working at a GNC, and I had, play away.
Yeah, I want to see this shit. Yeah, this is sick.
So I had to tell people about creatine a lot. And I got really bored with that.
Shout
so
out
I started
creatine. Keeps the hamster on the wheel.
Yeah. But like for me, I was like, the most exercise I did was skateboarding at that time in my life. I was like, what? Okay. So then I'm working at this GNC, like jaded, I look like a Gen Xer in like a
sure.
a 90s movie, and I'm just sitting there doodling all the time. And I came up with them. Actually, I came up with Ian. I came up with the sewer creep, and I was on this forum, this message board called Skullbrain. And on Skullbrain, I started talking to people all the time, like, how are you guys doing this? Because everybody was an indie toy maker. And it's like, how are you making these things? Like, what are you doing? And then next thing you know, you meet a sculptor. And then I had my factory figured out and lined up. And I think it cost me at the time, like $3,000 to make my first toy. And it was 4 pieces.
Damn.
Yeah. And I sold my record collection to do it.
Why did it cost so much?
Molds. The molds cost a ton, and that's soft vinyl's cheaper than injection molded. It costs about $25,000 to make an action figure. Yeah, A lot of people don't know that. There's a lot of things that people don't know about action figures that, like, if they realize them, they'd be a lot more like, oh. Like, people complain about, like, buck systems on toys when they reuse body parts. Oh, and I'm like, guys, if they didn't reuse those body parts, you would get far less toys.
Right.
That's why, again, another reason why Masters of the Universe is such a genius toy line, because it runs on like a $4 system where like a lot of the stuff gets reused a lot. I mean, hell, some of the characters are just straight repaints.
Right.
Merman and Stinkor are the same toy.
Right.
Like, it's just different paint jobs. I mean, Mossman and Beastman, same toy, just one's flocked, you know?
Right.
So, so I'm working there. I sold my record collection. I made a toy. It did terribly. I think it took me like 3 years to break even. Yeah, it was rough. It's on me. You do something blind like that. I always am the kind of person that just jumps
hard. I mean, self-promotion is extremely... I'm a fucking comedian, depends on who you ask.
Yeah, but in a niche, you know, like, yeah, it's
tough.
But mainly, I think what it was again, it wasn't the best sculpt. Like, this isn't the first iteration. This is Sewer Creep, I think, 3.0, maybe 4.0, like in terms of how many times we've redone the character. But the first one's rough. And I think that, like, I made a big mistake and learned how to paint on my toys instead of learning how to paint and then painting my toys. So since I learned techniques and everything on my toys, a lot of those early paint jobs that I did are bad. A lot of the other ones my friends did are good, but
well, I mean, props on you for doing it yourself too.
I mean, DIY all day.
Yeah,
I love DIY, but I think my problem is I tend to jump into things and just think I can do that instead of like making sure I can do it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways to learn something. In all fairness,
I'm trial by fire.
Yeah.
So so we made the toy. It did poorly. I thought I was done, honestly. I was like, I think I need to take a step away. And then a buddy of mine, his name's Niles, he had just bought this. He started renting this big house, and he was like, I have all this space. What am I going to do with it? And I was like, you could do art gallery showings in your house. And he was like, you think so? And I was like, yeah. So he started like an art food collective, and he called it Food Gore. And now he does Toy Gore. He actually does Toy Gore, and he does like the shop stuff, the art crawls and everything like that downtown, and sells kaiju toys.
Like Art Walk and all that.
Yeah, he does Art Walk.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so he's still doing stuff. But and his kaiju stuff's great. Like, he carries all the cool Japanese mini gachapon stuff like that. But he let me do a show there. I did a show at his house. And while I was designing all these pieces of art and I was like painting the last of the sewer creeps and I did a couple skateboards and stuff like that, I was just like, oh, I actually think I do want to try making toys again. So I hit up a friend of mine that was a toy maker, and I was like, hey, man, like, I think I want to make another toy, but I think I want to make the toy I always wanted to make instead of just making something that I think is a little bit more expected from me. Like, I think that, like, I love the sewer creep, and I think that over time we've definitely kind of figured out where we stand with each other. But I always wanted, there's a style of toy in Japan that's called a fight figure.
Okay.
And it's 4 pieces, which is why the sewer creep was 4 pieces, and it's 4.25 tall, 3 points of articulation. It's a really simple toy, but they're all based on like different styles of like hand-to-hand combat. So like there's people who make wrestlers, there's people who make boxers, there's people who make MMA figures, like stuff like that. But they're all like characters, very cartoony.
Right.
And I was like, I really want to make a fight figure because I collect fight figures. And my buddy was like, oh, don't do that, dude. Nobody cares about fight figures anymore. It's not going to sell. And I was like, I kind of don't care. So I
ran into that problem the first time. We've been through this.
Yeah. I was like, I don't really care. It's something I need for me. You know, like I just need to do this and just knock it off my bucket list kind of thing. So I designed the cultist figures, and like I did 3 of them. It was a goat, a fox, and a 4-eyed wolf. And I was just like, these are the figures. This is what I'm doing. And I like named them all, came up with everything. I had David Arshowski, R.I.P. He sculpted them for me, and he was actually one of the original sculptors on Ninja Turtles.
Oh, wow.
So the original 3 cultist figures were sculpted by one of the dudes who worked on Ninja Turtles, which was like a big deal for me too.
That's cool.
So we did that, and yeah, they did way better. They did way better. And what's funny is like at one point people were actually hitting me up and going, hey, is it okay if I make a fight figure? And I was like, absolutely. Like, I'm trying to bring the fight back. Like, I want the fight to exist. It's my favorite platform toy.
Did you find that your major point of selling was from online sales? Is it from doing like cons?
Then, yeah, like then it was all online.
How did you market yourself online?
Oh, just Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, it was weird because like we had Skullbrain, and I think that I feel weird saying this, right? Because I feel like it's a double-edged sword to make comments like this, but I hate Instagram.
No, hey, dude, dog, me too. No.
We do good with it. Like, I think we have a really good social media presence. We have a lot of fun making the videos, but I just...
There are so many podcasts where on my podcast, there are so many episodes where I'm like, I will never be the guy that talks into his phone and makes videos for Instagram. I hate the idea of that. I hate doing it. And then sure enough, I was like, you know what? You want to do this comedy thing full time? You got to promote yourself somehow, dude. Figure out what you think is funny and do it. And I started, and it's worked. But like, I hate it, dude.
I don't think my beef with it is like the exhaustion that is making content. I think my beef with it is more like it ruined.
Corny.
It ruined soft vinyl toys. Like it really, because when we were all on one message board and we all had to communicate within the parameters of this message board, it was so much easier to be like, here's the content, here's what's going on. It was really easier to kind of mitigate out the people who were trying to be there for the wrong reasons and trying to basically war profit off of people's passion.
Sure.
All this stuff. It was so much easier back then. And then you go to Instagram and it becomes much more accessible, but the wrong way. And I think that was the problem. So I think that your concept,
what would define the wrong way?
Well, again, you can't call out war profiters at that point.
Okay.
So the scene went from every once in a while some douche is going to get through the ranks and he's going to go to a Paul Kaiju show and he's going to pay $200 for a toy and then sell it for $350 on eBay. It happens. Yeah. Now there was a designer con we went to where half of the crowd was foreigners on their phones trying to broker sales to other people and flip toys in line in real time.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just sitting there I'm watching this dude take pictures and then walk back and then text on his phone and be like, how much I can get you this? How much more are you willing to pay? And I'm just this is
see, because I think about I hear stories like that, and then I think about you brought up earlier, the Absolute Batman 19 issue, and I'm like, on its face, I see my issues with it, but then I'm also like, well,
that's capitalism.
I believe in the free market. If someone's willing to shuck out a lot of money for, they have their own reasons, whether or not I agree with them.
Impatience.
Yeah, for FOMO, whatever it is. Which is just maybe they just have maybe they either have fuck you money or they just don't care about
education
debt,
on the product.
Whatever it is, right? That's their freedom to do that, whatever. But then you look at the aftermarkets on the market, you look at the after effects on the market, and what does that incentivize the companies to do? And then you just look at the vicious circle of it, and it's
you're breeding bad behavior when you do that.
Because I look at
you have to vote with your wallet.
Yeah, with the Absolute Batman thing, and I want to get to that later, but I love that line. I love that book so much. I'm going to a con with me and my chick at the end of May so I can get some books signed by Snyder.
Nice.
I love that line, and I've recently gotten into buying a couple variants here and there. But when I look at the listings, and it's 75 variants for a book, 118 variants for 19.
It's worse than the 90s at this point, and the 90s were terrible for that.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's over market saturation. Everything is over market saturation these days. Everything. Yeah. There's nothing that if something hits, people are okay, it's hitting now.
How much can we get out of it? Well, and a part of me too, not to be too much of a devil's advocate, but in the comic book market specifically, if they need to however they can get their money, they need to get it when it's happening, because the comic book market does go like that, and a lot of times it's like that. I mean, and I want to talk about that in a little bit too.
Marvel basically almost tanked the comic book market. Yeah, everybody suddenly turned on Marvel movies.
Well, I think Marvel's really shooting themselves in the foot right now, anyway. But it's the margins on that industry is not very high, and that better than anybody. Mm. So it's almost like I don't blame them for doing it, but on the same hand, it's do you really need 119 variants for one issue? Nope. That's incredible. But anyway, so you have your toy line, you have your brand, it's established, you take over the store. And I am asking this as a born and bred New Mexican, was there any temptation to, you're going to change the name from Lobo, obviously, but is there any temptation to keep it a New Mexico-based name at all? And why not?
Because I own Scum Pit Toys.
Good for you.
So I'm going to make my store Scum Pit Comics because I'm going to elevate my branding every chance I get, because my branding is key.
Good for you.
I will say that it's not like Scum Pit doesn't have any sort of a New Mexico reference in it. There's a pit reference in there, obviously, right? It's funny because people always ask me all the time, why Scum Pit? And I'm okay, well, originally when I started making toys, I called the company Toys or Sanity, because for me, toys were my sanity.
Right.
Like, but that never landed with anybody. Like,
Yeah.
it was very much like, oh, okay, that's what you,
Yeah.
and I was like, so at one point when I decided to like, when I went to do Cultist and I decided to really start taking this seriously and like expand and do like lines of characters and not just a sculpt here, sculpt there kind of thing, I was like, no, it has to have a different feel to it. It has to be different. And for me, it's like the pit aspect. We'll start there, right? We'll go backwards. We'll start. The pit aspect is like, okay, think of, can you name a famous pit? Slime Pit from He-Man, Sarlacc Pit,
Yeah,
the
Sarlacc
pit in
Pit.
PCU,
Yeah.
the pit down, you know, here in Albuquerque. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
pits, they exist. Like, I was like, it's a pretty common thing, and it's very like toyetic. Like, you know, Sarlacc Pit, Slime Pit, those are all
Yeah.
very toyetic things. Scum, because I wanted something that was very gross out 90s.
Yeah.
So
it is
I
very
mean,
90s.
Yeah. So like Scum Pit to me is a very like throwback to like Playmates from a Toxic Crusaders POV.
Right. Like Garbage Pail Kids.
Yes,
And yeah.
like I'm very much 80s, 90s gross out. That's like my jam. So
sure.
for me, I was like, oh, but then on top of that, like as a metalhead, like grindcore, what's Napalm Death's best song? Everybody knows it, Scum. You know, like so it was all this. So like I kept looking, and I was like, all these things pointed me to this direction, and I was like, yeah, we could be Scum Pit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny because like people will put me in their phone now and they'll put me in as Mikey Scum, and I'm just like, yo, I will not say no to being called Mikey Scum. Like that's rad.
That's funny.
That's actually used to be a thing in the hardcore scene too. Like the singer would always end up having like the band name as the last name.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
So now that you have your own store and you're running it, what, in your opinion, are some tent poles that you need, like some essentials to be running an efficient comic book store?
I mean, you need a good staff. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. Your staff should care about the product. Like if your staff's willing to communicate with people and they're not just focused on being behind the counter and making sure that everything's, I mean, like it's a store, right? There's things that have to get done. There's
Right.
daily tasks, but I think that people get lost in the minutia, and the minutia should never overtake your relationship building with the people that come in this store, because the store is a community. It's a community hub. It always should be. I mean, comic book stores there's not really like chain comic book stores, right? Like there's some, like don't sit here and like YouTube, like it will actually me, you know,
Right,
like, I know
right,
how
right.
this works. But it's just one of those
Especially
things
on the west side of the country, there's really not.
I'm just saying in general, it's one of the few things that we've managed to keep homegrown.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where because of that, you owe it to your customer and you owe it to your community to be a hub at all times. Like you should be just as much community forward as you are product forward.
Right.
Because the people should know that you care about the fact that they step 1 foot, 2 feet, no feet into that door.
Right.
You know? Like I think that's the most important thing, right? The most important thing is you should be present for the people that walk through the door.
And
outside of that, you need toys, you need comics.
Right. Yeah. You need inventory.
That's the recipe.
Yeah. So when let's say there's somebody listening who's like, well, how do you vet out for staff, right? Because I feel like I'd kick myself in and ask this. How do you vet for people that like really know what they're talking about as far as like the product
everybody who
goes?
works here really knows what they're talking about. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I tell everyone, and like, I mean, Alex is here. He's not obviously interviewing with us, right? But I've told Alex too. I'm like, you never lie to someone.
Yeah.
If I ever catch anybody lying
Yeah,
to someone,
fair enough.
the first thing I'll do is go, cool, now I'm going to lie to you about whether or not you work here.
Right.
Like, because to me, you don't lie to the customer. If someone comes up to you and they go, hey, have you read G.I. Joe Volume 3? You go, no, unless you have. And if you haven't, you go, no, I haven't. This is what I've heard about it.
Yeah.
And I can relate that to this, which I have read.
Right.
You should be 100% genuine with the customer.
Right.
Because again, it's not that they're just a customer. There's someone that you want. You want them to be able to trust you.
Right.
Because you're forging a relationship with every person that comes in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if a mom walks in and says, "Hey, I have this book here. It's called Crossed. Should my 10-year-old read this?" Totally.
Absolutely not. No one should read that book because it's not good.
I have to agree.
All right, real quick on that. We got it. I have a bunch of friends that I've been friends with since I was like 19.
Yeah.
And we meet up every couple months and we talk about comic books at my house on like a Sunday morning, right?
Sick.
Bunch of old dudes just being like, I remember my day comic books, you know, like
Sick.
that kind of crap.
Yeah.
I posed this theory and no one really agreed with me, and it's not my fault that they're all wrong because I'm right. But
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I think we as a collective did Garth Ennis a disservice because when Garth Ennis was putting out Preacher, Garth Ennis was doing some of the best work of his career, if not the best work of his career, because Preacher is incredible. Okay. It is basically a foreigner writing a love letter to Americana. It's about the American Western, the American
Garth
War.
Ennis he's from the UK, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's Irish. Yeah.
Irish.
So
okay.
yeah. But either way.
Yeah.
So anyway, like
Cross-spawned.
he wrote this book. It's incredible, right? But when you go back and you read old Wizards and you read like all the people covering it, everybody's like, did you see what Garth Ennis did in this issue of Preacher? He had this guy cut this other dude's head so it looks like a penis. Or like, did you see that he did this thing? And everything's about the shock value of how Garth Ennis writes. It's not about the fact that what Garth Ennis was writing was a love letter to Americana. It's not about the fact that Garth Ennis was questioning his own religion in that book. It's very much like, oh, look, Garth Ennis made this guy look like a penis. Or like, oh, look, Garth Ennis had Rottweilers eat this guy's testicles. Like, everybody got so fixated on the juvenile shock tactics that Garth Ennis uses to entertain you while he's guiding you through a story, that when he went and he finished the Preacher, right? And everybody's like, what's Garth Ennis's next big thing? Having spent years pushing everybody towards one direction with Garth Ennis, he made The Boys, and The Boys is terrible.
So okay, yeah, okay. So and I'll.
But The Boys is terrible because it feeds explicitly into how much Garth Ennis hates superheroes, and how much people want him to shock them.
Yeah.
So all that book does is hate on superheroes and shock and disgust you.
Yes.
And then same thing with Cross. Cross is just edgelord for the sake of edgelord.
It is. So,
and I feel like
I
feel like there's a world where we didn't push Garth Ennis in that direction, and Garth Ennis maybe isn't as memorable. He might not be as famous. He might not have as much money because he didn't make The Boys. Maybe he just ended up becoming like a Robert E. Howard type, where he's like, all Robert E. Howard, I do fantasy. Like Garth Ennis is like, all I do is war comics, because he does a lot of war books. He loves doing war books.
So that was my introduction to him, and I'll
was it Rifle Brigade?
I don't remember. I remember it was a World War II book, and it had a lot to do with fighter pilots.
Oh, I think I know
because I didn't have them. My buddy Dom did.
Yeah.
Because at the time I gotten into his Punisher, and I was like, dude, this Garth Ennis guy's the shit. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. Like, we were both. We were like.
That's Welcome Back Frank era.
Yeah. And because we were.
Or was it Max? Were you reading Max, or were you reading Welcome Back Frank?
No, I started with Bourne. In the Max era.
Okay, so you're already in the Max era.
Yeah, so I started there, and then I went back to Welcome Back Frank.
Missed out.
Yeah, so I went back to that, but because we were in 8th grade going into freshman year of high school, and I was like, this guy's great if you see stuff by him, and he ended up picking up the World War II stuff, and we traded and all that. And I'll preface this by saying, in the spirit of being truthful, I have not yet read Preacher. It is sitting on my shelf. I know. Yeah, I have the Omni sitting on my shelf, and I have not read it yet.
Read it.
I know.
It's so good.
Yeah, I know. I
think it's in my top 5 of all time.
Everyone that I've told that has read it is like, yeah, it's in my top 5.
Have you read my favorite comic book of all time?
Which is?
Transmetropolitan?
No, I have not. I've heard great things about that, too. I think a mutual friend of ours, Carlos Cordova, he told me about that book.
You need to read Transmet.
Yeah.
Transmet is life.
I want to get the absolute to that and read it.
I have actually Absolute Volume 1 is right over there if you'd like to purchase.
I'll keep that in mind, because that's on the list too. But
Transmet is perfect. Transmet is perfect. It is timeless. The things that were affecting our country when Transmet was written are still affecting our country today. Shocker. It's an incredible book.
Okay.
Preacher's an incredible book. Why? And I told you why, because it's a love letter from a foreigner to Americana. And again, while he's doing that, he's basically questioning everything he's ever thought about religion in his 20s, when there's when a lot of people tend to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that book is incredible as well. One of my favorite books of all time is called Phonogram. It's about people who use music as magic, and they're called phonomancers.
Interesting.
If you're kind of a music snob, it's great because it's so snobby about music that there's a glossary in the back of all the music references they make.
That's funny.
Yeah. The writer of that book once told me a funny story about how he made a girl cry in a Joy Division t-shirt. And I was just like, you sure you're proud of that, buddy? And he was like, I'm not proud of that, but I still told you that story for some reason.
So my question about Garth Ennis, because I agree. Because I read, the only things I've read of Crossed is the first initial trade. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I enjoyed the first 2.5 issues.
When he's setting it up?
Yeah.
Because he has to put plot in?
Yeah, I was actually kind of into it. And I was like, oh, this is pretty fucked up, but I can dig it. This is nice. And everything else happens, and I was like, oh my God. And then I watched, I'll say that in a second. So, Red Cross recently, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I think his Punisher is in my top 10 like favorite comics of all time. Like I just adore everything he did in that. And I'm shocked that I like Jason Aaron a lot, but I'm shocked that the ending to that, like I think it lived up to what Garth Ennis set up. I know a lot of people disagree with me.
Jason Aaron's incredible.
But I love Jason Aaron's work.
I think Jason Aaron doesn't get enough credit.
I agree. I'd have to agree. I really like his stuff. But then yes, you're right. Like I've only read the first I read it because I was on fucking deployment. I read the first like 50 to 60-ish issues of The Boys. And I was just like, well, because
so long.
Yeah, because my mindset of going into it was, I'm over here, the show just started, so I know I'm going to come back to a full season, and then I'm going to whatever. And I remember just getting through it on my tablet that I had, and I was just like, this is painfully bad.
In his defense, we did not have the current political social climate that we have had, because the Boys is done before we even enter the notion of a Trump office, right?
Yeah.
Like obvious, because I'm not like whatever your politics are.
Right,
I don't care. I don't care because I don't agree with you probably.
Yeah, well,
but unless I do, and then nice. But my point is like it's very obvious that Homelander is taking from Trump. Like it's very obvious that. But the thing is it's like there's no one to do that with when he writes Homelander.
Well, even
so his Homelander is just a prick Superman.
So I haven't finished the book, but I know how it ends with like Homelander being the fake out. So it's any plot that he had doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
And then it's just so I'll get through The Boys eventually. Maybe I won't because I have
read Preacher.
I know.
Don't read Garth Ennis at his worst. Read him at his best.
But then it's funny you bring up about like the people incentivizing Garth Ennis to go a certain way because he does hate superheroes. And then did you read Batman Reptilian?
No,
that made no sense to me. Do you know what it's about?
No,
it's not good.
It doesn't sound good.
It was not good. It's like. At some point,
Garth Ennis was allowed to write Batman.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound like someone who should ever be allowed to write Batman.
Killer Croc, like halfway through the story, goes through some like sex change thing where it's like a female Killer Croc, and then it's weird.
Just Garth Ennis.
It's very
edgy.
Strange.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
Just like pushing buttons.
And then I just think about it. And it's like, well, how does a guy who does weird shit like that make such a great Punisher? And I don't know how to square that circle.
Oh, I do.
Okay,
so again. Punisher is like the vigilante.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
For Garth, that's just a big hard-on. Like he's just like, oh, I can do whatever I want with this dude because he's an ex-Marine.
But he doesn't turn Frank into a caricature, in my opinion.
I mean, he doesn't. He turns everything around Frank into a caricature.
Okay, fair.
Because you get stuff like the Russian.
Fair. Yeah.
and he makes Frank the ultimate straight man for the joke.
Right.
There's that issue of Welcome Back Frank during that arc where Spider-Man gets knocked out and then he just uses Spider-Man as a human shield. Yeah. And then when Spider-Man comes to, he's like, oh man, we had a team up. You were great. And then he leaves. Because that's the thing is nothing is funny to Frank.
Right.
Like Frank has no sense of humor. But you also, I think a lot of people forget this. Do you know what Punisher was doing before Garth Ennis took over and wrote Welcome Back Frank?
So it's funny you bring that up. I've spent the last 3 nights up until like 3 a.m. organizing all my single issues.
Okay.
And I found a late 80s into the 90s issue of The Punisher, where Punisher was teaming up with Luke Cage, and he was in blackface. And
wasn't he actually black? Didn't he like surgically make him black?
Yeah, he was surgically changed to have black skin.
Yeah.
And in the first like 3 pages, he gets pulled over by the cops and he gets the shit kicked out of him. So that's what the Punisher was doing, apparently.
No. This is past that. But we can come back to that because I'll tell you a funny story about that. But this is later. Marvel had exhausted what they could do with the Punisher to their knowledge because this is like late 90s Marvel who had no idea what they were doing, except for Jimmy Palmiotti, who's a genius. But they basically were like, and they started Marvel Knights, and they were reinvigorating characters, right? That's when Kevin Smith got on Daredevil, which led to your Bendis Malieve Daredevil era that you love so much that it's tattooed on your arm.
I do.
Yeah, I got that eye.
Yeah,
so here's my thing.
It's in my top 5. I love it.
So right before Garth Ennis got the book, I believe it was Bernie Wrightson had done art, and they did Punisher as a demon hunter for Heaven.
Yes.
So
I
Heaven
have
basically
that
was
trait.
like, you're the
Yep.
ultimate hunter.
Yes.
We want you to hunt demons.
Yes, I remember
and
that.
Punisher was like, sure.
Yeah.
And he's got like this weird mark on his head,
Yep.
and he's got like an anointed gun, and he's
Yep.
hunting demons. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's not
and
good.
then they had
Yeah.
him team up with Wolverine in this book that's like Wolverine and like demon hunting Punisher. And it's like by Pat Lee, who did Dark Minds. So it's like super anime looking. And I was like, what is this?
Right.
And then I think they realized that they were about to like permanently ruin the Punisher.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we need to save this. We need someone grim and gritty to
Yeah.
jump on this book immediately. And they gave it to Garth Ennis, and he retcons that shit in 2 panels. He has Frank holding a fat mobster off the Empire State Building, and he throws the mobster off, and then the panel says, I was working for Heaven, or Heaven said they would give me a job. I told them where they could stick it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you hear the splat, and he's like, and it's like something like, I know exactly where I need to be.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, Garth Ennis just retconned like 3 years of bad Punisher in
Yeah.
2 panels.
Yeah.
That dude knows how to write comic books.
Yeah.
So when he writes something about a dude dying on a toilet from like his shitting superpower, that's because you want him to, not because he doesn't know how to write well. Garth Ennis is an incredibly gifted writer.
Yeah.
He got typecasted and ran with it and made
Yeah.
millions doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like he's not banking off the boys still.
Oh, no.
So
Yeah.
like more power to Garth Ennis. I'm just saying that like
Yeah.
as a fan of his work, I'm going to go back and look at like Emerald Isle, Judge Dredd. I'm going to go back and look at Preacher. I'm going
He
to go
wrote
back
Judge
and look
Dredd.
at,
No shit.
oh, dude, like everybody who did a Vertigo book in the 90s and 2000s cut their teeth at 2000 AD first.
I'll have to
Peter
check that
Milligan. Who else? Like, I mean, Peter Milligan did it. Frank Quitely did stuff for 2000 AD. Like everybody did stuff for 2000 AD. Like 2000 AD, it's almost like how like everybody would come, they would like cross the pond, right, writing wise, and you would have to do a run of Hellblazer first, usually.
Interesting.
So a lot of those dudes
Okay.
would do a run of Hellblazer, and then once they proved that they had the chops, they'd be like, okay, cool, now you can do your creator-owned book.
Nice.
So like his run on Hellblazer is like the run on
Okay.
Hellblazer. Although I might argue for Azzarello because the Azzarello runs good too. Right. But he's the one who did like the whole like you saw Constantine.
Honestly, I didn't.
What?
I didn't. I know. I know.
There's a storyline where John gets cancer and he's gonna die. So he basically goes to hell and like sells his soul to 3 different archdukes of hell. And then right when he's about to die, all 3 come up to take his soul. And then he's like, oh, like, so if you take my soul, doesn't that mean that you 2 just got screwed out of my soul? And if you take my soul, then these guys get... So he basically threatens them with civil war in hell.
Plays them against each other. Yeah.
So then they have to cure him of his cancer and basically leave him alive. It's called Dangerous Habits, I believe is the name of that storyline.
Okay.
But yeah, that's Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis with Steve Dillon, if I remember
No shit.
correctly.
Okay, yeah.
And then they were like, let's go do Preacher.
Okay.
Yeah. I again, like Garth Ennis doesn't get enough credit for all the good he did because people just tend to see all the other terrible stuff he did.
Right.
But again, he did that because you wanted him to. That's the way I feel, at least. I feel like you basically told him, hey, make edgy junk and I'll
Right.
read it. And he was like, here's some edgy junk.
So in the spirit of that, my last question on this subject is, because I've been going back and forth on this. So should Crossed be adapted?
No.
I agree.
No.
Have you seen The Sadness?
No.
Okay, so it's
I'm just gonna keep saying no. No.
yeah, fair enough. Well, because it's a Taiwanese movie that takes heavy influence from Crossed, and it's on Shudder. I'll be perfectly honest with you. You should watch it.
I will.
If you're a fan of 28 Days Later, it's
fine.
basically that, like turned up to 12, obviously. But
Which is what
takes.
someone would argue Crossed is.
I would say Cross is turned up to 20.
Yeah.
Like this is like, and that's my point. Is like with that movie, it's done quite well, and it pushes it to the limit as about as far as it should go. It still has some of this essay stuff and all that, and it's done like you don't see all of it, which is good.
Yeah.
But it's honestly it's well made, it's well shot, it's well acted. It has all the good ingredients to make a good horror movie anyway, but then it kind of just turns the dial. But then you look at something like, because the Cross movie just wrapped like I think 4 or 5 months ago, and
Make it.
yeah.
That makes me sad.
Oh yeah, it's fully wrapped and it's like in post.
So unnecessary.
And so my whole thing is like,
but hey, Garth got paid, so I'm happy Garth got paid.
yeah. And I'm just because I am in the same way. I'm just like, well, you shouldn't be making it in the first place, because then when it comes out, let's say it adapts it as accurately as it can. I'm not going to say as well, because I don't think
well is not the word you want to use.
Yeah, that's not the right word.
It, yeah.
But if it adapts it accurately, well, then it's probably not filmable. Let's assume that it is, and it gets like the Terrifier 3 treatment where it gets the not rated and it's released. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, it comes out. You have a lot of people like, what the fuck is this? What's going on? Whatever. But then, if it's not adapted accurately, then you're going to have these bozos telling on themselves, being like, hey, this should have been so much worse. Like, what do you mean so much worse? Then they look into it and it's like,
this book is unnecessarily upsetting, yes.
But then it's gone for like 150 issues. Garth has been in and out of it. Alan Moore jumped on it for like 20-something.
There's always going to be a group of people who read comic books for violence, specifically.
Yeah. And I'm cool with I just want to say this.
I'm one of those people.
I'm cool with extreme gore.
Yeah, same.
I really am. Like, I dig Terrifier.
I think that they don't need the story. Does that make sense? Like, they don't need plot. They're in it to like see. It's like, it's kind of like listening to Cannibal Corpse. Like, there's no plot. Like, it's not like George Corpsewriter Fisher was like, and then in the next song there's a twist ending. It's like, no, he's like, this song's called Pocket Full of Guts.
Yeah.
The end.
Their Friday nights are a 6-pack and watch people die when that was still a thing.
Yeah. So basically, like, I feel like with something like that, it's like there's always going to be people like that. There's always going to be cheesecake comic collectors, like guys who are like, I buy this book because this girl is cute in a bikini. And I'm just kind of like, cool, man, more power to you. If that's your jam, that's your jam. I don't buy those books.
Right.
I don't necessarily, not because I have anything against them, but just because I need a story. I need purpose.
Right.
I have to be, if you want me to show up every month, I have to have a reason.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's some books.
I need Bendis Malieve level intent when I read a book, you know?
Yeah, but there's also some books that are made that are bought by some people. You should check the church history real quick. You should. There's some weird shit going on.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's always. I think everybody has. I always joke around in the store. I joke around that everybody has a bad '90s character that they'll make apologies for, and for most people, it's Gambit.
You don't like Gambit?
Gambit's the worst comic book character ever made. He has no purpose. He has no plot. He has no substance. He's great in X-Men 97 before you try throwing it at me.
Yeah.
But that's years of trying to figure out how to give him purpose, and his purpose in X-Men 97 is what?
Die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But outside of that, in the comics, he is literally Rogue's purse.
Yeah, I will say I'm not the most well-read X-Men guy around. I have a lot of X-Men that I have not read. I have read, I like him.
At one point, they made him Death for Apocalypse. Did nothing for his character.
Oh, because they made him a, what do they call the Horseman, right?
Yeah. At one point, they said he was a member of the Marauders, and he killed a bunch of Morlocks in the tunnels, and then they quickly doubled back, and they were like, well, he didn't kill anybody. Right. He just hung out with the Marauders and watched them kill people. And then what did the X-Men do? They left him in Antarctica, but like 6 months later, he was back on the team like nothing happened. And they've given him he's had how many solo titles, and none of them have made it past like 10 issues.
Yeah, they never really take off.
Because he has no substance. As a character, he is a blank slate.
How would you change that?
Cajun Thief. Like, that's all you get is Cajun Thief.
Right.
I mean, you have to flaw the character. You have to truly flaw the character. Like, he has to go through like a road of trials. Like, if you're going to do a Gambit solo series, you have to do something where he gets stripped down to brass tacks and rebuilt.
Right.
Like, that's the only way you're really going to make Gambit truly entertaining. Outside of that, it's like the last time they tried giving him a book, it was him and Rogue together, and it still got canceled.
Yep.
And that's the thing is, it's like, it's because he, while being incredibly charismatic and very well designed, like I get why people like Gambit. He is a very, very slick,
he's fun to look
design.
at. Yeah.
But like, you know, past the occasional Cherie and a card joke, like there's nothing else going on there.
Interesting.
And most people love him. Same thing with Cable. Like, most people love Cable. Cable has a lot more going for him because he has a very convoluted storyline, and you can mishmash that.
He's the definition of
90s.
Storylines converging where they didn't know what to do with it, and he's the.
But that's the thing. He's a great example of another character from the '90s that people are like, "Ugh, I love that dude," and you're like, "But why?"
Right.
Everybody has one. Everybody has one. Let me make this clear. Like, I'm not above this.
Yeah.
I love Jean-Paul Valley. I love the Azrael. I love Asbat.
I knew you were going to say that. I don't know why I knew you were going to say that.
I think the concept of like a hidden group of like religious zealots that also want to be superheroes is rad. I love the idea of the Azrael and the St. Dumas Church and all that stuff. I love all that. I love when he's Batman. I love that he's like a much more like 90s intense Batman, like kills people and stuff like that. I think it was great. And then he has a redemption arc after that. Denny O'Neil. See, that's the thing. Gambit can't get more than 10 issues. Azrael had a 76 issue run, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I might be off, and again, quote me.
It was north of 70.
Yeah.
It was North of
So
70.
it's, like, it's a long ass run. That's all that matters. Is it's a long ass run. That's the point. And then again, like, everybody has like their weird 90s, indie book that they read that's not good. Spawn's not good.
Thank you.
Spawn's beautiful though.
Thank you.
Like Greg Capullo, mwah. Tony Daniel on Blood Food, mwah. Like, even McFarlane. I love McFarlane.
I have the first compendium of Spawn, and I've sat down 4 times to try to read through it, and
You know what is good?
I can't stick with it.
Curse of Spawn.
Really? Okay.
Curse of Spawn's great.
Okay.
And I feel like it's like I'd rather like learn the stories of all these spawns through history, or watch Sam and Twitch like find a murderer. Like, everything they did in Curse of Spawn, fire.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Spawn, I feel like is a dude with a flashlight that's constantly running out of batteries. So he's like trying to find the way through this room, this tunnel, but every time it seems like he's about to get somewhere, the battery's cut out.
Is McFarlane writing Cursed?
No, McFarlane didn't write Curse. No.
Okay, interesting.
And Curse is like long over. This was like at the same time as like early Spawn.
Okay.
But now, I mean, you have like 6 Spawn titles. I think Matthew Rosenberg's about to start writing Spawn. And like, I think that Matthew Rosenberg basically came out and was like, I'm going to write Spawn. Like, it's going to be well written.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, we'll see. Like, and again, like, I'm not trying to, like, I read, like, I buy Spawn. Like, I'm not trying to judge anybody. Like, sometimes it's like a popcorn. It's like it's the equivalent of a popcorn flick.
Right.
But it's because it's so pretty that you're just like,
it's gorgeous.
So good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, it's gorgeous. I love.
He always was art forward.
I love the resurgence that's getting the resurgence treatment that's getting to a lot of indie books right now. Like, so obviously it's over, but I binge read Invincible. Finally got through all of that. Phenomenal. So loved it. Adored it. But I'm seeing. I haven't started reading it yet, but on my pull list is the Jason Aaron Ninja Turtles. I've heard good things about that. I've heard great things about Kirkman's Transformers. I've heard great things about the current. I don't know who's writing it, but the current G.I. Joe.
Josh Williamson.
Yep, Josh Williamson. He's great on Superman too. I started reading his Superman recently. He's fucking phenomenal in that, and he's phenomenal in.
If you're not reading the Energon universe, you're only hurting yourself.
I've heard it's phenomenal.
It's so
and I want to get the hardcovers.
I have them.
Yeah, I want to start collecting those because I love the way
take your money.
That the way that IDW does those hardcovers look great on a shelf.
Image, but yeah,
Image. Thank you, Image.
Yeah. No, they're great. For years I've called that shelf porn, and everybody's like, "What?" And I'm like, if it looks good on a shelf, like if it looks hot, sitting on a shelf, it's shelf porn. Yeah. So like for me, like a paperback's fine. If I can't get it in any other way, I'll get the paperback
for sure.
But if I can get a Transformers hardcover edition,
these
like
guys
that,
right here.
Yeah, that's shelf porn. That looks
yeah.
good on the shelf. That makes me want to read that book when I look at it.
And Daniel Warren Johnson, he's a talented dude.
Hell yeah, he is.
He's a talented dude.
You need to read Energon. If you're not reading Energon, everybody, Transformers, Void Rivals, G.I. Joe. They're starting Mask up in June.
Okay.
And they built it out really organically
the
and
mask,
naturally.
the mask?
Like Mask Crew, whatever. How's that song go? Like Mask Crusaders.
Oh shit. Okay.
Doing overdrive all the time. Whatever the song is like. Yeah.
If you were to get somebody into indie comics right now, where would you start them?
I mean, like Energon Universe is kind of great for that, right? Because it hits you with nostalgia, and it's an indie book because it's done by like indie creators.
Okay.
Rogue Sun.
Okay.
Radiant Black.
I've heard good things about Radiant Black.
Radiant Black is the next Invincible.
Really?
Yeah. And I prefer Rogue Sun, but I think that's just because I think that the subject matter is a little bit tonally more in line with what I like.
Okay.
But both books, so good.
So it's like get in early while this stock is where it's at because it's going to skyrocket.
Oh yeah, these books are eventually going to get noticed for how good they are. Okay. A lot of people like Something is Killing the Children. I haven't read that yet.
I have the first volume of it. I haven't read it yet. But
yeah, I want to. I have, like I said, I have the hardcovers. I mean, I've been very busy opening a comic book store. Bear with me. So yeah, there's certain things that I've missed that I do want to go back and read. I mean, like I have a full library in my house. Like it's like my pride and joy. Like I have this giant library, and I'm like, one day I'm gonna just sit in here every day, and that's it. I'm gonna retire, and I'm gonna get up in the morning. I'm gonna go for a walk, and then I'm gonna read for a couple hours, and then watch a movie, and then go for a walk, and like I'm gonna have it down to like a boring science.
That is my goal: is to be a stand-up comedian that is able to tour enough to where I can read my books finally.
Yeah, I want that for you.
Thank you. That is my goal.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you about your tattoos real quick. Yeah. So is that Marvel Zombies, Peter?
No, so this is I I forget who did who initially I saw the design from, but I brought it to Carlos. All my ink is by Carlos.
Carlos.
And I was like, I want this version of Spider-Man, or this like idea of Spider-Man, but I want him to be damaged like Toby at the end of the first movie. And so that's where
that makes sense why I don't know it then. Because I was like, it's like almost an amalgam then.
Yeah.
But it looks like, because again, I was like, oh, is it probably then like a zombie version of him because he has no torso? So, so I was like,
that was just because I wanted more shit.
No, that makes sense. And then, okay, so you've got a Punisher.
Yep.
And then you've got Cap on the other side. Is that like Fallen Sun Captain America?
The Ed Brubaker.
Yeah.
Yep.
That era, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I love me some Brubaker Cap. Brubaker Cap was incredible.
I was going through my collection last night, sorting all my stuff, and I found that I had the number 1 of the series.
Good.
Didn't even know that. I was like, oh, it's
good.
Fucking sweet. I've got the Omnis, but this is great.
Yeah,
cool. Good to have you. Yeah, his stuff reads like a movie, and I remember I got
That's why they made a movie out of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it reads like a damn movie. No, like his cap is so good. And
okay, hold on. I'm going to derail you.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
Favorite Marvel movie? There's only one right answer to this.
My brain. That's the problem, right? My heart tells me the first Toby, just because that's like my. It's nostalgia mixed with.
I graduated high school the year that movie came out.
Yeah, I was 4. Yeah,
I'm old.
Yeah, I was like, but that's like, it's nostalgia. It's the first movie I saw in theaters. It got me into comics. It's like that's everything I could ever ask for in an origin story. Like that's like it just.
I like when Macho Man Randy Savage is in my origin story too.
It's the American dream, truly. But then my brain.
I mean, like MCU.
Oh, MCU.
Yeah. There is only one right answer.
Like, competently made, great story, great acting, like checks every box. It's Winter Soldier.
That is the correct answer.
However, I think there's a strong argument for Infinity War.
Because I don't count those movies. I feel like you can't count something that literally can offer you everything you've ever wanted as a child.
Well, if you don't count the Avengers movies, then it's Infinity.
Yeah, because like they already have you like because they're like, look, we're gonna do everything you ever wanted. Cap's gonna hold Thor's hammer. Like they're like they can just like
Endgame is not that. It's not the second coming of Christ on the rewatch. It's fun.
That's fair.
But it's not
saying like it's like it's like crossover books versus monthly books. That's how I view it.
That's fair. No,
and
that's
like
totally
a crossover
fair.
book always has the advantage of having everybody in it. You know, there's always like, is there something for everyone in a crossover book?
But
Winter Soldier is chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's everything done right. You could tell we were just talking about plot. They clearly cared about telling a story.
They clearly cared about Ed Brubaker's story.
Yeah, and they cared. Yeah, they cared about adapting his stuff, like what made it great.
Isn't he even in it? He's in it.
I think he makes a cameo.
Yeah, I think he cameos in it. Yeah,
I think he cameos in it. But yeah, but with Infinity War is the first time that those Marvel movies felt like the Marvel comics.
To be fair, like you could say anything and I wouldn't actually give you a hard time, right? Because I feel like everybody can make a plea for why they're passionate about the movie they're passionate about. I think that like Winter Soldier is one of those movies where you could literally just be like, watch this to anybody, and it's just a good movie.
Yes, no, it's a good movie that happens to have superheroes in it.
And for me, that's why my number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy, because I think Guardians of the Galaxy is the best sci-fi fantasy since the original Star Wars.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I don't really have an argument against that, because and I'll be honest, I did not like it the first time I saw it. I just didn't like get it, I guess. I don't know why. I just like
I watched, there was a point when I was watching
as time went
movie,
on,
like there was a point when I was watching that movie once a week.
That's fair.
And I was just kind of like, it was just on, and I was just like, man, every time I watch this movie, there's something else about it I like.
That's fair.
And it's just so slick, and it's like such a good representation of how talented James Gunn is, even when he's not being that talented. You know?
Do you think he's the right person for DC?
No,
I lose faith by the hour.
I don't.
I lose faith by the hour.
I don't.
Perfectly honest.
I don't. I did not like that Lanterns trailer.
No,
all. I was furious.
Oh
Especially
no!
Since my boy got done dirty the first time, so I'm already bitter.
Oh yeah.
Whoever cast Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern, I will fist fight them if I ever meet them.
Yeah.
Because it obviously should have been anybody else that was up for the role.
Yeah.
Actually, not anybody else, because it was Justin Timberlake,
Ryan
Reynolds, I think Ryan Gosling, and what's his face from Silver Linings Playbook.
Bradley Cooper?
That's who it should have been.
Oh, yeah.
Out of those 4 dudes, it should have been Bradley Cooper. At that time, it should have been Bradley Cooper.
For sure.
Who's the dude who everybody thinks wants to eat people? Armie Hammer. Yeah. there was a time when I would have said Armie Hammer should be Green Lantern.
He looks like Hal Jordan.
He would have been an amazing Hal Jordan. And now I would say Glenn Powell.
That's the obvious choice, especially after Top Gun Maverick.
You know what's even
That's
more
just
obvious?
it's just the obvious
choice? Do you remember when they did that D23 and they were announcing all those Star Wars movies, the ones that never got made?
Yeah.
And they had Patty Jenkins show up and
Yeah.
she's like she's like on the airfield and she's taking off her clothes and she's wearing a flight suit under it, remember? Or she was wearing the flight, something like that. Oh yeah, she was wearing an Air Force suit, but under it she's wearing an X-Wing suit. Yeah. And she's talking about how like her dad was like an Air Force pilot, and how like she wanted to do this. She's always wanted to make like the great dogfight movie, and how like she like loves airfields and she grew up on airfields, and like she's sitting there, she's saying all this stuff, right? And I'm watching this mock-up, and then she's like, and I'm doing Star Wars. And I was like, whoever put Patty Jenkins on Wonder Woman instead of Green Lantern needs to be fired.
That's insane.
Because she literally is a female Hal Jordan. Her backstory is his backstory.
Yeah.
Like, she could have made the best Green Lantern movie.
And I thoroughly enjoyed the first Wonder Woman.
First Wonder Woman.
Yeah, the first one. The second one
first
was...
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, the second one was... Whoever I put her in the same category as Zack Snyder. Don't let them write. Just don't let them write. Yeah. Let them direct. Don't let them write.
That second Wonder Woman, man.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's dog shit. And so, so I completely agree. Whoever put her on, because I saw that same presentation.
And I kind of get where they're coming from. They're like, yeah, space dogfights, but she's literally pitching a Green Lantern movie.
Right, she's pitching the Green Lantern movie. So,
and I'm just furious. By the end of it, I was furious, and I was just kind of like, so I basically had to watch Wonder Woman like sexually take advantage of a stranger in Wonder Woman 2 instead of watching Patty Jenkins make an incredible Green Lantern movie that she actually would have wanted to make.
Because the argument up until James Gunn taking over DC, the argument, at least in my opinion, was always you need people that are nerds in the room. Even if they're out of control, you need them in the room. He's
not one of us, dude.
You need nerd consultants.
I'm not trying to be rude. I don't have anything against James Gunn, but he's not that kind of nerd. He's the kind of dude who like read Watchmen in college.
Right. See, and you know what? That's a criticism they gave Zack Snyder.
Well, Zack Snyder's the same dude. They're just different kinds of that dude.
Interesting.
You can be that same kind of casual and still be that dude. Like, it's just a different thing where one of them's an edgelord who doesn't think anything is funny, and the other one is someone who thinks that doesn't know how to write a single character. Like, I love James Gunn, but James Gunn does not do anything unless he can make an ensemble cast.
Well, he doesn't. He wants to show how quirky he can be, and how niche.
Terrific had like 15 minutes in that Superman movie. Dude.
Yeah,
it's insane how much lines Mr. Terrific had,
and how niche.
And don't get me wrong, I love it. As someone who like loves Mr. Terrific and loves the JSA, that's great for me. Right. But at the same time, I'm like, this Superman movie is like little on Superman, oddly enough, because he loves ensemble casts.
It was a step in the right direction.
For sure, it's still a great movie. It's a great movie. I don't need anybody coming at me.
Yeah, they got Superman right. It was unfocused, and I didn't watch the Clayface trailer just because I saw images from it, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of sold anyway. I'm interested to see what that's going to be. But
what's the name of that Batman animated series episode? It's Feet of Clay, right?
Yep.
It's fucking art, dude.
Well, who's the guy that's writing it? I saw an interview with him where he basically said he's adapting that.
Because Feet of Clay is
and I was like, yeah, that's great. That's perfect.
That scene at the end when he's in the video room and he's turning into all those different versions of himself and you can see the pain.
Yeah.
Like, you're wearing a Batman the Animated Series shirt. Batman the Animated Series is the definitive Batman.
I agree.
Like, I don't get me wrong. I love Morrison Batman. I love Tom King Batman. Like, I can sit here and I can name Batman's runs with the best of them. But like,
shout out Grant Morrison.
I love Grant Morrison, but like I can name Batman runs with the best of them. Like Frank Miller Batman. Like I can do this. Like Judd Winnick's Batman gets no credit, and Judd Winnick's Batman is amazing.
And I was just going through all of that, showing my chick, and I was like, yeah. So when Morrison
Under the Red Hood, baby,
yeah, Under the Red Hood.
Plus he had Doug Mankey on Under the Red Hood. Yep. Doug Mankey's like top 5 artist
of all time. Is that how you pronounce
his
last name, Mankey?
Yeah, that's how I pronounce it.
Okay, I thought it was Minch.
It might be.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay,
I've always
continue.
Thought it was Doug Mankey.
Continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so I've read so much Batman. Fun fact, I actually hate Batman. I think he's a terrible character. I think he's a totalitarian prick.
Why?
Because he is a totalitarian prick. Everything he does is manipulating other people to his war. Bruce only cares about the war. In fact, Bruce doesn't exist. Batman only cares about the war.
Isn't that the guy you want in Gotham, though?
What?
Isn't that the guy you want?
Don't you think that like this is the reason White Knight is such a good story, because it proves that like, you know, that whole idea of like chicken or egg, it's like, well, no, he's just as bad as the villains.
Right.
Like that's the problem, is that he's such a totalitarian that like he like keeps Gotham under his own thumb. The man's a billionaire. He could buy a new Gotham.
Yeah, I know, and I have no argument against that. I really don't.
I mean, but at the same time, Batman's weird because, like, personally, I don't like Batman because I see the grossness in the person and it bothers me. But let me make it clear: Batman is the greatest comic book character ever made.
See, even as a Batman fan, I think Superman is.
No,
because I think
you can do anything with Batman. You can't do anything with Superman. If you send Superman to Mars, big deal. He's still Superman. He's just on Mars. You send Batman to Mars, you take away the utility belt, and you just wrote a John Carter story.
But I think that's why they're so good, is because Superman is the god that descends, and Batman's the man who ascends. That's why they're so good.
I think that's a great way of explaining it. I do.
Yeah.
I just think that like from when you look at where comic books started and you look at like our pulp heroes and stuff like that, like pulp heroes are kind of timeless. You know, like we still make Dick Tracy comics.
Right.
And Batman is the ultimate mix of superhero and pulp hero.
Right.
And because of that, he is the most malleable comic book character. You can put him in almost any scenario and be like, well, yeah, he knows all this stuff about crime fighting. Here's a great detective story. Oh, yeah, he knows all this stuff about a hand-to-hand combat. Now he's fighting Lady Shiva in a tournament. Right. Oh, yeah, he's also this great scientific inventor, so he created kryptonite arrows. And like, you can do anything with Batman. He's literally the perfect creative tool to telling a good story. So when people do bad Batman, it's like, almost like, how?
How did you do that?
How did you do that?
Yeah.
And to be fair, like...
That's why I don't think the Christopher Nolan movies have aged very well. Yeah. I just don't think they've aged very well. I love Batman Begins. I adore Batman Begins.
I remember seeing it in theaters, and he's holding the dude off that building, remember? And the guy's like, I swear to God. He's like, swear to me.
Yeah.
And I looked at my girlfriend at the time and was like, ooh, I hope he never does that again. And then...
And that's the rest of the movie?
No, he doesn't really do it in the first movie. He does it a shit ton in Dark Knight.
The gruff, the voice. Yeah.
This is how I talk for Gotham.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, why didn't they just get Kevin Conroy to voice act with you for like a day?
Just dub.
Just pay Kevin Conroy like, you know, like $20K and be like, hey, Kevin, can you just come down here for a day and just like talk with Christian a little bit about like how to present the Batman voice? Yeah, sure, no problem. This is Bruce, you know, like, because again, that's another reason why the animated series is so good. That's the same dude being Bruce and Batman, but they feel so different.
Yep.
And he like, you can tell that they're one of them is a front stage and a backstage to the same man, you know? Mm-hmm. That cartoon is incredible.
I agree.
And like, that's what my point was. My point was that like the animated series is incredible. Like few things. I mean, Paul Dini's run on Detective is incredible. Actually, I don't think he gets enough credit for that. There's that whole issue where Robin's in the back seat and Joker's driving the car.
Vaguely remember.
Where he's like holding him hostage.
Yeah,
and it plays out like a one and done episode of TAS.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, and I guess my question about James Gunn is like, I'm an unapologetic Zack Snyder DC universe fan.
You're wrong,
and I just adore it. I just, and nothing will ever knock me from that. I will die on that hill.
Pa can't die saving a dog.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. Why would you? Your son can run around the planet and grab the dog, and no one will see him do it. Why would you risk your life when you don't need to prove some weird holier than thou point to your son?
I'm not saying that there's nothing I don't agree with. Okay, I prefer the heart attack to the tornado. I prefer that.
It's so infuriating.
But I will say
I can't, man. Like there's like, they're legends. They're not gods. And I think that's the problem, is that like when people view the DC heroes as gods, they instantly write them wrong. When you view them as legends and you view them as icons, then you give them just the right amount of stature that they're still human enough. But once you go to God, you take this humanization away from them that is completely lacking in the Snyderverse. No one feels like a person. Everyone feels like a totem almost, where it's like, oh, look, this is a character that stands for this. Ooh, who cares about human collateral damage? I'm a god. And it's like, no, Clark Kent would not stand for 30% of Metropolis getting murdered in a fight with Zod. That ain't happening. That's not Superman. Like that's the problem, is that universe is so dark, so nihilistic, and just so like devoid of like hope that you're just like, oh, you don't get Superman at all. One, two, Bruce and Clark don't care that their moms have the same name. They really don't.
Okay. I will defend the Martha scene. Now,
it's a humanization point. I get it, but that's not the humanization point that would work on Bruce Wayne.
I wish they would have left that in the oven for a few months, rewrite that, re-execute it. The execution was not good.
No,
because even I was in the theater.
That movie's a mess.
I remember watching BVS in the theaters and being like, and I adore the director's cut of BVS. I really do. And I remember watching that in the theaters initially. I'm just like, wait, so they're Super Friends now? Wait, what? What?
Yeah.
And I get it. It's like Batman put himself in the position as Joe Chill. If he kills Superman, he becomes Joe Chill in the alley. Then he's lost his war, and he becomes the whatever.
And the war is all that matters.
Right. And
not the kids that he uses to fight his war.
Right.
Just the war. I'm trying to make a point here, guys.
Right.
There's a ton of Robins. They're all just cannon fodder to Bruce.
And so it's like, I get what they were going for with the Martha scene.
How old was Dick when he finally called Bruce dad? Like 35.
Yeah. He's a grown man.
He's a grown-ass man, and he finally was like, can you be my dad? And Bruce was like, maybe.
Yeah. So it's like...
It's like, no, bro, you've been his dad the entire time. You're just a bad one.
Yeah. He's not a good father. But I will say, like, what I did appreciate about Snyder's approach is that I get it, everyone criticized him for the deconstructive angle he went with, but I like that they started from... These are characters that are going to eventually mold into who they're going to, like, who they traditionally are. And I like I when those storyboards came out of what 2 and 3 would have looked like, I just would have much rather seen that than what we're getting right now, because at least what that whole arc would have been. Personally, I think, and I know this is very apologetic sounding, and it is apologist movement, but if those movies came out now, they would have been glazed, in my opinion. They would have been absolutely glazed. But because those movies were so dark, they are dark. They are nihilistic. They are like...
You can do dark and nihilistic without doing it the way that Zack Snyder does it. You're watching Daredevil.
Perhaps. Well, even... I think they made Daredevil too dark. He's supposed to be a happy-go-lucky Matt Murdock a little bit. I think.
He's not.
It depends.
Matt's life sucks.
Well, it depends on the Matt Murdock. It definitely depends.
Matt's life was only good when he was in San Francisco.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Any other time, Matt's life sucks, and he has constant Catholic guilt.
Right, I do agree. Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. But with Snyder's stuff, I liked what they were eventually going to do with it, and I think that when those movies came out, they were running up against Marvel in the heyday. And I think if those movies would have came out now, because again, it would have gotten so like. I
think they do better now because people are over lightheartedness in their superhero movies. So and I think The Boys proves that. Mm-hmm. So I think you get a leg up, but I still don't think you're right. I still don't think that they're creating the right archetype. And I think that the issue is that, again, the problem is that Marvel's too and DC's too and it's like, guys, the middle ground is just Like you're saying, like, it's my tone. It's literally I'll give you the perfect example. Guardians, perfect. Guardians 2 sucks.
Yeah.
It doesn't suck. I'm being
fine.
Ridiculous. Like it's too funny. He doubles down on the humor. Yeah. It's the same thing that's wrong with Thor Ragnarok. No, Ragnarok's perfect. Sorry. Love and Thunder. Ragnarok's perfect. The right mix of humor and everything makes sense, and there's a great flow, and it's beautiful. Love and Thunder, too many jokes. They're making jokes while they're talking about her cancer.
Love and Thunder is not good.
Love and Thunder's bad.
It's not.
And that's the thing is that's the problem with that Marvel suffers from, is that Marvel can't find the line where they go too far into the joke.
Yeah.
And then the problem with DC is it's the opposite, where they can't find the line where they're going too far into almost looking like edgelords.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, guys, like, but there's a middle ground, and no one's playing in this middle ground.
True.
The middle ground is where all these characters actually exist.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, I'm going to say this. I'm saying this to you, the people, because you're all monsters. Because all I heard after that Spider-Man trailer came out was, oh, dude, Peter looks so sad. This movie's going to be so good. Why do you all want Peter Parker to hate his life so much? I don't understand this.
That's
like,
me.
People love when Peter is sad. They're like, oh, bro, like, no MJ. He's, like, alone. His aunt's dead. He's going to be so depressed. It's like a Death Cab for Cutie record on TV. And I'm like,
I will
stop.
say this. After the last, they did a lot of patchwork in No Way Home. Mm-hmm. But after Homecoming and Far From Home, where it was kind of like there's not a ton of consequences for Peter's actions, I'm glad that I mean,
Far From Home bothers me because you don't take Spider-Man out of New York. Like, I'm sorry, you don't
I agree.
do that. Like, you
I
don't
do
take
agree with
Spider-Man
that.
out of New York. You can take him to space with the Avengers, fine, but like, you don't take New York is the secondary character in a Spider-Man book. It's Spider-Man, New York, and then everybody else.
They made Spider-Man too much of a crutch, or they gave him too much of a crutch, and they didn't let him have responsibility in the first 2 Tom Holland movies, and they did again a lot of patchwork, a lot of overcorrecting with No Way Home.
Are we just gonna start a comic book podcast?
And you know what I mean. And now with the new movie, I wish Zendaya.
It's a back to basics. It's
I wish
the
Zendaya wasn't in
always
it.
wanted.
I wish Zendaya wasn't in it. I wish his friend wasn't in it. Honestly, I love the Punisher. I wish Punisher wasn't in it. I just wish
Frank
it was,
doesn't fit that tonally.
I just wish it was
anymore.
a basic Spider-Man movie.
Also, Jerry Conway died, didn't he? Rest in peace. That
Yes,
sucks.
he did.
But
like 2 days ago. Yeah.
Like, yeah, no. I mean, I get what you're saying, but you're still going to get the Peter you want, and you're getting more of a grassroots classic Spider-Man
Which
story.
is good. I'm very excited.
But that said, I don't understand why everybody needs Peter to be miserable. I would love a book where Peter's, and you know what's funny is like anytime Peter's not miserable, everybody's just waiting for the other shoe to turn. Like,
Yep.
You're like, his life's really good.
Because Peter Parker is
it's the Parker luck.
Yeah, because Peter Parker is the best character that can come back from anything.
He's the ultimate underdog.
Yeah, it's the execution which he comes back.
It's do you follow wrestling at all?
A little bit.
They always talk about how like heels make better champions than faces, because for faces it's about chasing the title, not having the title.
Right.
And that's kind of how you write Spider-Man. I
Yeah.
think people write him as constantly chasing the
It's the
title,
journey.
and then when he gets the title, you can only keep it on him for like a month or two, and then you got to take it off because people get real bored and they turn on a face champion real quick.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody talks bad about Cody Rhodes, but they're wrong because Cody doesn't deserve that shit. He's just doing what he's told.
Yeah.
People forget that wrestling is predetermined.
It's not fake.
I'm not gonna say it's fake because they hurt themselves. I'm
It's
saying
scripted.
that like that's not okay.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how often I'm like looking at like the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, right? And I see some stupid dude talking about wrestling like it's not predetermined. And they're like, oh, bro, like Roman Reigns is going to crush CM Punk at WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, guys, no, like that's not how this works. Like you're blind fandom for a fictional character that slightly blurs the lines between reality and fiction because it's a person that's like living that character a lot more often than like, Mark Ruffalo plays the Hulk.
Right.
But like Roman Reigns doesn't go home and go, Roman Reigns is going to go crush CM Punk tomorrow at SmackDown. Joe goes home and plays with his daughters.
Yeah.
And then at some point, Phil, CM Punk, calls him and goes, hey, what do you think about this finish for the match? And he goes, I think this. And it might not be that close because they might not like each other that much.
But
you see what I'm saying? Like,
it speaks to how good the product is, though. Let him live in fantasy.
No, bro, I love kayfabe. I love kayfabe. But for me, it's this whole thing of like when people talk about it like that, I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, that's not. Like, there's been this whole thing because since WrestleMania, they fought at WrestleMania, and everybody you got a 5-star match from this old head who likes to talk about wrestling, and he gave it a 5-star match, and it's Roman Reigns' first 5-star match, and everybody's like, yeah, but if Roman hadn't been there, it wouldn't have been a 5-star match, and it's like CM Punk has 3 5-star matches in 3 years. Roman Reigns just got his first 5-star match. What? Like the math is right there in front of you. The math is that CM Punk is coming to this match, bringing the best out of his competitor and bringing the best out of himself. That's literally, both people have to be there, of course. But the fact that you can try and say that the person who finally got a 5-star match, who has been wrestling actively for 15 years while CM Punk took a 10-year break. What? No, the math doesn't math. I don't like having to explain simple things like that to people. It drives me crazy.
I went to Raw when they came through. Me and my girls, my buddy, we were able to get passes in, and watching CM Punk wrestle in person, that dude is a talent.
Yeah.
That dude is a damn talent.
He's self-made.
Yeah, he's good.
And he's straight edge. We take care of our own.
He's great. He's great.
I will say this completely away from wrestling, right? Because that's not what we're here for. Other things that have bothered me profusely. Do you pay attention to Marvel toys, right?
Peripherally, like from the sides, yeah.
So you know how they do? They'll do like the big Sentinel, the Galactus. They did all those crowdfunding projects.
Yeah.
When they went to do the Ghost Rider car, the car was $300, and everybody was like, "That's insane!" And it's like, okay, well, hold on. The car comes with 2 different modes, so you can make it the Vengeance version of it or the normal version. It If it had backed properly, it would have come with a Robbie and a Ghost Rider, a version of Robbie. So that's 2 figures right off the bat.
Right.
And all 4 tiers that they planned for upgrades, had it fully funded, were figures. So had people actually just funded it and then done the math on it, you would have gotten 6 figures, which retail is $150 right there. Right. And then a vehicle with lights, sounds, and 2 different modes for $150.
Yeah.
That's how that maths, by the way.
Yeah.
Everybody, all the YouTube toy people are like, this is a ripoff. Hasbro's just trying to take our money. And I'm like, no, Hasbro's making a vehicle. Most people don't understand that vehicles are incredibly expensive and hard to make because all the tooling for a vehicle is specific to the vehicle.
Right.
You can't use it again.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, you might be able to use tires, but like if you make like a Dodge Charger, the Camaro is going to have different doors. You can't use that stuff over again. So tooling for vehicles that's why Super 7 had to charge $500 for the party wagon when they did it, because they made this gigantic, really super involved party wagon, So people don't pay attention to stuff like that. So then all the YouTubers bash it. It doesn't fund. And Bobby Valla from Valaverse, who makes the knockoff G.I. Joe line, I think it's called Freedom Force or something like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He comes out during all of this at a Joe convention and goes, yeah, this is what we're putting out next. And we're putting out this this vehicle. And everybody's like, oh, and he goes, yeah, and it's going to be way cheaper than that Spirit of Vengeance ripoff. And then he goes, it's $200 and it comes with 1 figure. And I was like, well, if you math that out, that means that the vehicle costs $175, has no lights, no sounds, and the figure's $25. So if you think about it, really, no. Yeah. And that's the thing, is it's people don't, no critical thinking skills and stuff like that. People get in their head about something, or they hear something and they lock in on it.
Well, and with the math that you were explaining earlier about like the production of toys and how much money it takes to actually make the figures and make the parts and all that, with how specific the vehicles can be, do you even think Hasbro makes money on that?
Oh, they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Hasbro sucks. They're making a ton of money.
Interesting.
But
okay.
I mean, they sold 30,000 Sentinels. No, Galactuses. The Galactuses sold 30,000 units.
What do you think it costs to make a Galactus? Maybe a ballpark.
Probably like $30,000, because they get better terms than Super 7 or like NECA does. Hasbro's like the creme de la creme company. They've been making action figures for years. They've got way better factory terms than anybody else does, probably.
Right.
But even then, yeah, it's a big figure. There's a lot of tooling. So maybe 50,000 to make that figure in terms of like actual tooling.
Okay.
But each one of those Galactuses costs $3,000. Or no, $300. Sorry.
I was like 3,000.
But 30,000 times 300.
Right.
The math's there. They made money.
Okay.
The price per unit, because the cost is only once, right? The price per unit, like let's say they probably cost them because injection molding is cheap. It's really the tooling that's the reason that we're paying so much for figures.
Interesting.
What's funny is that with soft vinyl, the molds are cheaper, but the cost per unit is more. Because of the type of plastic you're using is a little more specific. Vinyl's a little bit more difficult to work with.
Okay.
Than injection molded plastic.
Okay.
So basically, like, that's the thing, is it's like they're making their money. Units is what makes you money in action figures. So the more units you move of something, the more profitable it is.
Right.
So yeah, and I mean, like with a Marvel Legend or something like that, they're moving over 10,000 units.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
When they do a wave of figures, they're moving units.
Right. Because they're all being able to be made from that same cast and the same
And again, if you think about it, like I told you, like if they do a wave of Marvel Legends, they're using all these parts, right? So they're like, oh, we're using this buck from this character, this buck from this character. It's a piecemeal thing. Right. And then the only thing they maybe sculpted that's new is like hands, head, something. They add the pieces they need to add.
Right. Just the audibles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's stuff like that helps kind of navigate how the action figure industry works, because they're trying to figure out how to maneuver within cost. And that's why every once in a while you'll get a really complicated character because they can afford it, but they'll stick that character in a line with a bunch of characters that are really common. Like that's why there's always a Wolverine or an Iron Man or a Spider-Man in a wave of something, because they're like, oh, we have the parts to make this. This guy gets one more part and he's a guaranteed sell or something like that. Whereas like they did Sasquatch at one point as a Build-A-Figure, and they did Wendigo as a Build-A-Figure. That's the same toy. Right. It's just different heads, different paint jobs, different heads. Right, and that's the thing, is they know that. So they're like, oh, we can use this figure twice. And again, that's why I always come back to He-Man with that stuff, because I'm like, yeah, you use this person's arms, use this person's torso, use this person's legs, and you've created a new He-Man character.
Interesting.
You just put a new head on it.
Interesting. Yeah, you've given me a way different way to look at toys. Like, it makes sense. I just never really thought of it like that.
Most people don't.
Yeah, that's fucking incredible. Well, listen, man, this has been a fantastic conversation.
I talk a lot, sorry.
No. This has been, makes my job easy. And you know what you're talking about. So that makes it fun. So thank you again for this conversation.
Yeah, no problem. I love it.
It's been a lot of fun. Just one more time, how can people support you, support the shop, where can they find you in the shop?
When is this going to air?
In about 2 weeks.
So probably air before the 16th or?
Yeah, it should. Yeah.
Okay. So May 16th here at Scumpit Comics, we're actually going to take one of these. There's an empty building in the strip, and I'm doing an art show for a toy that we make that's not a Sentinel. It's called Hunter X. It does kind of look like a Marvel Sentinel, but it's not a Sentinel. We're going to retire that toy. So I'm doing a huge art show here at the store. It's called Decimation H. Cool. So I really wanted to plug that because I literally stay up to like 4 a.m. painting toys, and I lose my sanity in these next couple of weeks. We'll be doing that. You can always find us here at Scumpit Comics, which is 1016 Juan Tabo. We're usually here 7 days a week. We like to be open every day. I think it's 11 to 6 every day, except for Sundays, which is 12 to 5. If you ever have questions about anything, we're here to, talk comics, talk toys, talk pop culture. If you ever have things you need to get out of your house, if you're just like, hey, I have old G.I. Joes, old Transformers, old magazines, if there's things that you think that fit the bill, that fit this store, call us. And if you want to bring them by, we'll be happy to take them off your hands. We want to recycle things into the community. We pride ourselves on being the best price shop in town. We want to make sure that we're making things affordable for that community. And we want to make sure that we're cycling things into that community in the right way.
And what type of collectibles do you guys take?
Yeah, like I said, we do action figures, we do games occasionally. We do, if you think it's cool and it fits the it's a high-end property that you can think of, if you come in with a bunch of old Godzilla VHSs, I'll take them.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If it hits us, that's why if you don't want to take the chance, call first. Call the store and ask us if we'd be interested. But I try not to turn anything away because I like to see what people have and I like to talk to people about things they're passionate about. Again, for me, it all comes back to community. Stuff is stuff, but stuff is the lubricant to make people make new friends, like us.
Yep.
And I think that that's the most important thing. Is I think everybody as adults, we get scared of well, how do I make friends? It's weird making friends as an adult, and it's not. There's so much social lubricant out there. You just have to figure out how to use it. And that's why I try to make sure that as a store, as a hub for community, we are doing that. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that we are here for the community and we're here to help people meet new people as well as, give back in whatever way we can.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad you're in charge of the store. I'm glad you took it over,
Thanks.
Made it your own. It's good to see that shops this obviously is comic book specifically my hobby. So I'm glad to see the local shops get taken over by people that care.
Yeah.
And what were you going to say?
One thing,
yeah.
Totally forgot.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wrote a comic book.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that on your Instagram. Yes,
yeah, I wrote a comic book. It's done. They're printing it now. That's why they sent me the test. I posted on Instagram.
Yes.
It's a cultist book. It's about my cultist universe. It's called Rotten Futures. It's a 70-page story with 4 8-page mini stories and some pictures of the toys, some original art in the back, hardcover. Hopefully it should be here by mid-June, and last week of June we should be doing a book release for it. So we'll do an after-hours release, and
hell yeah,
we'll have people come in and build their own cultist figures. I've been collecting pieces from all the different figures we make, so people can just come in, pick out parts, and build their own.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so please, keep an eye out for that as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's crazy to say I made a comic book,
That's sick. Yeah, I meant to bring that up too, so thank you for reminding me. Yeah, congratulations. Fucking congratulations, man. That's awesome. I'm glad that someone that cares about...
This is a bucket list year for me. Own a comic store, write a comic book.
Yeah, do that all in the same year's nuts.
Yeah. I don't sleep at all. Well,
you can't when you have passions. Yeah, thank you again for coming and doing that, or letting me come and do this, sitting down with me. You have legitimately a great shop. Selection's fucking awesome. I love this backdrop personally for a podcast, but a lot of cool shit on the wall, a lot of great books that
you should see my house.
Yeah,
see, you want to do it again? We'll do it at my house
for sure. But I'm the same way. I've got my condo, just the living room is just my library. It's fucking having my setup like that. So again, thank you for coming or letting me come and do this. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. Support these guys. It's a great shop, and we'll see you next time. Bye everybody.